In today's lesson here on educator.com, lessons on e-marketing, we're going to talk about the newest craze in internet, and that is the website known as Pinterest. Now, Pinterest is a up-and-coming new social media website. It's getting a lot of buzz out there, and it's pretty much the fastest growing website on the internet, growing faster than even LinkedIn. So we're going to go ahead and discuss the lesson overview here on the benefits of Pinterest, why Pinterest, and then, of course, how to set up and create a profile, and then the best use of Pinterest. Now, before we go on to the other slides, I just want to hand draw how Pinterest pretty much works. Pinterest, instead of what we all are familiar on what is known as bookmarking, okay? And then on this side, we have a term called pinning it. That's the, I guess I spelled it wrong, pinning it. All right, forgive me for that one. So pinning and bookmark, pretty much the same concept. Of course, when we like a website, okay, we bookmark it. Okay, and that goes into a drop-down menu on the browser. Okay, so it kind of reminds us that it's all there. Pinterest has the same concept. In other words, if we like a website, we also bookmark it, or, as Pinterest says, pin it. Okay, sort of like taking your favorite picture and pinning it up on a board, or a notice and pinning it up on a board. You're doing the same thing with a website. And these websites could be anything from your interests, your hobbies, to your opinions, special blogs, or even other websites that you enjoy. So you're actually pinning it, but it's the same concept of bookmarking it. Now, the benefit of Pinterest, as opposed to just simply bookmarking it, is that you're not limited to putting this on the browser drop-downs. You're actually pinning this within the Pinterest website. So you're pinning within Pinterest. Okay, I'm just going to write this down really fast. All right, so you need to go into the Pinterest website, log in, and you'll be able to see everything and share everything that you are interested in. Whereas with bookmarking, it's just limited to you, okay? It's limited. In other words, you really can't share your interests, can't share, whereas with Pinterest, they promote sharing. Okay. I have family members, especially my mom and my sister and my mother-in-law. They enjoy sharing recipes and gardening, clothing, pets, you name it. Also, a very high sharing item are pictures, portfolios. Really, really interesting. We're going to go into the Pinterest website and look at some of the people who do Pinterest. But first and foremost, I think it's important to get the concept down. So again, we're talking about bookmarking versus pinning. And the main thing is that with bookmarking, you're keeping it to yourself, whereas pinning it, you're sharing it with the world. Now, the nice thing about pinning it is that you can categorize it, okay? And the way they categorize your topics is by creating what is known as a board. So there could be a board, again, for gardening, could be a board for news, could be a board for technology. If educator.com were to create boards, maybe they have a board for each and every subject that this company teaches. Algebra, computer science, English, all those different boards to basically share the videos that we create for you to educate you. So as you can see, there's a significant difference between bookmarking and pinning. And of course, there are times where you want to bookmark things that you don't want to share with other people. Okay, and that's perfectly fine too. But for the rest of us, for instance, right now we're in July 2012, and already there are several people who I know who have created boards for their Christmas gifts, Christmas in July. I guess it really does start in July. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide and talking about Pinterest in general. Pinterest has already, as of this month, July 2012, has well over 12 million users, and they only started a couple of years ago. And they are really, they're really moving fast. They're growing leaps and bounds. It's again the same concept as I explained before. Bookmarking allows you to share photos, links, and articles, but instead of bookmarking, we're calling it pinning it, which I think it's a really cool term. And if you look at their website, their mission is to connect everyone in the world through the things they find interesting. Can't say it any better than that. Then, of course, you can use for a business, a specific type of businesses. I'm going to go over that at the end, towards the end of this lesson, but just to give you an overall view, not every business may benefit from Pinterest, but if you're a cooking, if you're a chef, you may want to share recipes. If you're a web designer like I am, you may want to educate your audience on web technologies and web ideas. If you're a painter, you can share all your work and whatever it is that you want. And of course, if you're at the most important job in the world, the stay-at-home mothers, you want to share your baby photos or your children's photos, ideas on mothering, ideas on articles on how to, well, anything that requires the satisfaction of being a mom, and there are plenty out there, and dads as well. So if you're either mom or dad, but for business, we're going to go over that in a few minutes. But for the most part, also I want to point out that I find that Pinterest is really interesting because it really tells about a person. Okay, it really talks to you about a person. Now, in my experience, and I'm only talking about my experience, most of Pinterest users are females, okay, as opposed to males. I mean, I'm in it for business purposes, but the majority of Pinterest users are females. And so for guys who are in the dating scene, I mean, I'll tell you, if you want to know about someone, well, ask for their Pinterest account. See what they're all about. And of course, there are some men out there who are in Pinterest. So if you really want to know about someone, about what they like, but what they're interested in, Pinterest is definitely a place to really consider. So let's go to the next slide and talk about the signing in process. We're also going to go to the browser as well. Now, before we can sign in, obviously the thing to do is create an account. Okay, and Pinterest has the most unusual method of creating an account that I've ever seen in any high-profile super website, if you will. Let's go to the browser, and this is Mozilla, and I'm going to go to this one right here. So you notice, excuse me, I'm going to go ahead and increase the size, that in order to have a Pinterest account, you have to request an invite, which is highly unusual. Of course, if you have a login, if you have an account, just click login. But when you request an invite, you are putting in your email, and then you're going to be pressing the request invitation button. Okay, I'm going to shrink this a little bit so you can see the whole thing. And then I guess it's just a waiting game. Now, I've waited a couple of days. It doesn't take much more long than that. I'm not sure to why this is a methodology that they choose to implement. I guess you have to be invited to some sort. I think they want authentic people, but for whatever reason it is, I think the wait is worthwhile. Once you do have an invitation to join Pinterest, you would simply log in. Now, Pinterest, let's go back to the slides over here. As you can see that I've got both the Twitter, okay, and the Facebook logos here. As with the case with many of these high-profile social media websites or any social media, they are allowing people to sign in with their Twitter or their Facebook accounts. Now, there is a connection. If you do have a Facebook account, or Twitter account. Whatever you post in Pinterest will appear also in Facebook or Twitter. And especially if you sign in. Me, I kind of like to keep my accounts separate, so I never log in with Facebook or Twitter. So I'm going to go ahead and log in, and then we will visit the first page of Twitter. I'm sorry, Twitter. Did I say Twitter? I meant Pinterest. Okay, I hope they don't hurt me for that one. But as you can see right here, this is the opening page. All right, it'll tell you about your recent activities. Now, these little pictures you see over here, if you scroll down, are all different pins from different websites, from different people. These are just feeds, okay? These are people that I may or may not be following. And what I mean by following, and I'm going to go ahead and minimize this a little bit. Pinterest takes a couple of concepts. It takes both the concept of Facebook in that you can like certain articles or certain pins, and also it takes a concept of Twitter in that you can follow people. Okay, so when you follow people, you can be notified of what they have posted or what they've pinned in their respective boards. If you like something, you can just go ahead and press the like button over there, and they'll be, of course, the other person will be notified, hey, I like this pin or I like this article, something. So it kind of has both the major social networks, both their concepts. Again, I think it's a brilliant idea. This is one of the smartest websites I've ever ran into. And as you can see, again, on the left-hand side over here, all these are people who are following me or I'm following. You don't have to follow everybody, and not everybody will follow you. So the key to it, of course, depending on what your intentions are for this website, is to get as much followers and follow as much people as you can. All right, let's go to the next slide over here. Now, in this slide, a lot of you may want to utilize this technique. There is a bookmark drop-down menu on the respective browsers. Now, I'm using Mozilla here, okay, which is one of the most widely used web browsers there is. And when you create a Pinterest account, they will give you the option to put a thing or an option called Pin It, okay, right here. You know how we have import bookmarks or bookmark this page, as you can see right here. You can bookmark this page. Pinterest adds a Pin It to that drop-down key, so you can pin that website that you're in. Okay, now this only works, I've seen it only working on Mozilla and Internet Explorer. I have not seen it working in Chrome, and I haven't even attempted to test Pinterest in Safari yet. But I know in Mozilla and Internet Explorer this does work. But again, if you want to utilize it, but we're going to go into how you can pin it. You certainly don't need this, as we'll find out. But this is something that you may want to consider it. I think it's good, but again, don't take my word for it. But before you pin a website, you've got to do other things. For instance, you need to create a board. Okay, so in order to pin something, and we're going to go back to the browser. But before I teach you how to create a board, I want to go over the website in general. Okay, I want to show you exactly what the website is made about. And if you can, I would recommend you pausing this video right now and create an account. Hopefully you've created an account, because I don't want you to wait 2 days to start this video again. But for those of you who has a Pinterest account and want to learn more about it, go ahead and log into your account right now. And as you can see right here, on the upper right, there's several things that are underneath the drop-down menu, and I'm going to go ahead and increase the size so you can better see. Now, if you'll pardon me, I've got to move things around a little bit, but if you click on the drop-down menu on the upper right, you notice that there's several options that I can select. For instance, invite friends. Okay. Now, from Facebook, as you can see, I can click on Facebook. I can, first of all, let's go from the right here. I can go ahead and enter email address and put in a note and send those invites. Anybody who you want to, invite to Pinterest, you can go ahead and do that. Submit, pretty self-explanatory. Now, of course, there is a connection with the Facebook. And if you're logged into Facebook or somehow, they will find out who your friends are. And as you can see on the left-hand side over here, we've got all my friends in Facebook. And if you want to be my friend in Facebook, feel free to go ahead and look up Webmaster Jim on Facebook. I've already following 74 friends, and there usually is a list on this side right here. But Facebook is a great place to search for people to follow. On the right column over here, you've got Amy, you've got Kingsley, you've got Laura, you've got Vito, you've got George. You've got all these people who don't have a Pinterest account yet. So maybe you'll send an invite to them. Maybe you'll encourage them to create a Pinterest account. You can also look in Gmail. If I didn't find any Gmail because I'm basically using a public computer, so I wouldn't find anything on Gmail or on Yahoo, so I won't even try. So I will go ahead and see if I can go back one. Okay. Let's go back again. And let's go ahead and minimize this. All right, so there I am right there. And so if I click on Find Friends, I can do so as well. I can type in a person. Okay, again, the same Facebook people appear. So if you want to find a friend, I can type in someone right here. Let's go ahead and, well, I guess they're not available at that point. I can just type in the first few people, first few letters of a person's name, as you can see, and it'll highlight those letters that I typed in, and I can find those friends. So at any rate, when I click on boards, these are all the boards that I've created. Now I'm officially on my Pinterest account. And I'm going to minimize this a little bit so you can see the whole thing. You notice that I've got a total of 10 boards, which I've created. Portfolio, websites, since I'm a webmaster, I want to show that off. Philosophy, tech article, spirituality, web tips TV, my style, books worth reading. These are the things that interest me. So when I surf the web and I enjoy a website or an article or a blog, I can pin it, and I would add that pin into these respective boards, okay? Especially tech articles, okay? I've got quite a few of them. I've got 11 of them, and I hope to expand that to hundreds eventually because I know the people who view my account can benefit from them, okay? Okay, so let's go to boards, pins. Again, these are pretty self-explanatory. Here's Stephen Hawkins. Here's other things. If those of you who don't know Stephen Hawkins, he's a very famous physicist, and also other things about feng shui and spirituality. A lot of heartwarming things. Of course, my show, Web Tips TV. I was able to put that in there. And on the upper right, as you can see, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you're familiar with Facebook, you're pretty much familiar with Pinterest. So settings, these are the questions they're going to ask you when you log in. Put your email, and you can put the language that you like, your name. Now Pinterest I find very refreshing because you can actually put your business name if you like. So I put Web Tips TV, which is my business, and of course my real name is Jim. But here you got more controls, and I don't want to deactivate my account because that'll totally mess this lesson up. So anyways, and I don't want to. I like this. I really think it's a genius thing. So now, let's go ahead and create a board. Let's go back to the slides. As you can see, we're going to create a board. Okay, and the way this happens, as I explained, is that on the upper right-hand side, right around here, you can't really see it here, but right around here, we notice that there was an add button, add option. And from there, you can go ahead and create the board. These are the different boards that I've created, as I explained before. Here is, we're going to create, I'll show you exactly how to create the board. And let's go back to the browser. All right. What you can do is click on the add right here, and it'll give you these three options. Create a board. Okay. So if I click on this, create a board, and I put, say, tech articles. Okay. And I already have this, but I just want to show you for lesson purposes. And then they ask me which category. In this case, it would probably be technology. And then add another pinner. In other words, you're allowing someone else with a Pinterest account to add pins to your board. Okay, it's a matter of trust, and it could be a business partner, it could be a spouse, okay, it could be anybody you want. So then once you create the board, it will appear, and I'm not going to create it here, but it will appear on your account. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at boards. It will appear here. Okay, instantly appears. Now you see right here, books worth reading. I haven't put any pins in there, but it usually appears blank, and that's for a reason. Okay, so it will not show any image unless you pin a website. Okay, so let's go back to the slides. Forgive me if I'm moving a little bit too fast or if I'm switching from image to image, but I get the benefit of working on the internet, so it's best to use a browser. So when I pin a website, okay, the first thing I go back is to that add button or option, okay, and I press that over here, and then basically I have the three options which you've seen before, and I'm going to add a pin. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about adding a pin and uploading a pin. All right, so if I wanted to add, I'm going to click this. I can add a pin and upload a pin. Now when I click on upload a pin, you notice that I can upload something in my computer. It could be a photo, it could be an article, it could be anything that I want, okay, that's in my computer. But since I don't have anything here, I'm going to X out. But what I do have is I can add a website or pin it. So let's go ahead and look at what they asked for. Notice, add a pin. I know it's very faint, but it's going to ask you for a website. So I just happen to have a website, which you'll find interesting. Now, here's a CNET article. Now you can blur faces on your risky YouTube videos. Now, this is a blessing because now I can hide people and not worry about getting people's permission to expose them. Okay, this is really cool. So what I would do here is on the very top here, where the web address, I would highlight it and I would copy it. I go back to Pinterest and I paste it. Watch what happens. You click on Find Images. Once you find an image within that website, you can add that to the boards. Okay, let's go ahead and find an image. Notice that it on this side over here, and I'm going to go ahead and increase the size a little bit. Okay, notice that these are images that appear within that website that I just selected. And they're pretty shoddy images, but I kind of like this one because I know it's kind of hard to see, but it shows this person's face, and then on this section here, it shows it being blurred. And what I want to do is I want to add this to my tech articles. Okay, and I can describe the pin, how to blur faces on YouTube. Pretty cool. And then I will pin it. Or if I want, I can also share it on Twitter. What the heck, I may as well do it. Pin it. It's going to start pinning, and eventually it will appear. Here it is right here. Okay. And what I will, it just kind of shows the article that you have selected, sort of like a graphical representation of that article. And let's go ahead to my main part. Let's go to the boards. And as you can see under tech articles, there it is. Okay, there is that image. I can click on it. And these are all the pins under tech articles. Here is the website that I just added. And here are other websites that I've added previously. So this is pretty interesting stuff. And I can click on this image, and it'll take me to that website. Okay, and you can actually read that website, and people can repin this to their regular boards. Okay, you can like it, you can embed it, you can report it, you can do whatever else you like with it. Let's go back one. Okay, and here is the actual link, news.cnet.com. This is where it references it. This is the legal stuff. You have to reference where you've gotten the articles. You can also, if you move the cursor over the different images, you can edit. You can comment on it if you like. Like it'll appear right here. You can type whatever you want on it. Press comment and it will appear. You can also do this on other people's pins. Okay, so that's the social networking part of it. We can comment on each other's pins. Okay, so I think this is really interesting. Again, you can go back one. You can edit the boards. You can, like, for instance, if you move the cursor over, you can edit the board cover. If I don't like this, I will go ahead and find a new board cover. I kind of like this better, so I'll set the cover here and watch what happens. Notice that the two computer monitors appear over there accordingly. So let's go ahead and minimize this and go back to our slides. As you can see, we've pretty much discussed everything. So finally, what businesses should use it? So if you're a business, you pretty much got the fact that this really works well for personal use. It kind of tells about a personality. But what about businesses? Well, again, as I mentioned in the beginning of this lesson, not every business may be interested in using Pinterest. And that's perfectly okay. But in my experience, the business sectors that are really beneficial to this are, well, if you're in the stock or investment sector, okay, there's no shortage of stock articles, investment, financial advisement, things of that nature, okay? You can go ahead and add that if you're a broker, if you're a financial advisor, okay? Anything with technology, okay? The ever-changing world of technology. Okay, and it doesn't have to be about web design. You could talk about hardware, new computers, the television. You can talk about, of course, handheld gadgets like the iPhone, all this little stuff, new things that are coming out, new apps. So if you're a webmaster, okay, or an IT guy, this would be good. Another thing is, recipes are very popular. So if you are a chef or a baker, okay, that would be very beneficial to you. Another very popular thing is education. That's what this website, educator.com. So if you are a teacher, professor, if you are into teaching people, if you're a tutor, again, you may want to create a board on education on a specific subject. Another thing I find is history. Okay, again, going back to teachers. Okay, but if you're a politician, I guess, you can talk about the history. Even if you're a lawyer, okay, believe it or not, lawyers go back hundreds of years to make referrals about cases. All right, so let's go ahead and finish off with a positive note. Let's say sports is another one. Okay, so if you are a journalist, okay, or if you're a fan, you can talk about your fans. Also, gardening. Oops, sorry about that. Sometimes these things have a mind of their own. Gardening. So if you're an arborist, okay, or a gardener, obviously. Okay, if you got a green thumb, okay, Pinterest might just be it for you. Also, health. So if you are a doctor or a fitness trainer, pretty much any topic, any sector that has a whole bunch of articles and you are involved in that profession, you can have a good Pinterest account and educate people. I know the ones that I mentioned over here are pretty much the most popular. But then again, Pinterest is amongst friends. So share your family albums, share your memories, go ahead and enjoy it and see what people have to say about it. So that's pretty much it. Pinterest is interesting. This is Jim here on educator.com. Stay tuned for the next lesson.